Hey guys, Sean Bougie here. Friday. I'm got to run some errands and also help out my folks today, picking up some things for them. You can go to surplusfundsriches.com to see more about our programs. We do tax liens, we do flipping property, both tax and mortgage, pre-foreclosure, and we do overages. That's our mainstay. We've been doing this for going on 2 decades. Another year it'll be 2 decades. So we kind of know our way around this. We've also been a licensed broker in the state of North Carolina, licensed in North Carolina since late 1993. So I've been around the block a little bit. Had a lot of expensive lessons, and when I put these videos out, I'm trying to keep other people from having those same expensive lessons. So I'm going to talk about 3 things today, and mistakes that I see often by folks that work with us, members in our community that work with us, mistakes that they commonly make. And this is going to be for tax lien sales, tax deed and mortgage foreclosures, and tax and mortgage overages. Important you guys get this information because it can actually rob you of profit. Okay? So let's talk about tax lien sales first of all. You know, one of the things I've said in a previous video about tax lien sales, or tax lien certificates, if you want to call them that. One of the things I've said is you guys are not getting the full story, or you're thinking, like, especially if your play is that you're going to get that property itself at the end, okay? You're not checking debt. That's one of the things I see a lot of. Same thing with surplus funds and with buying property going into foreclosure, before it forecloses. You're not checking debt. And when I say debt, I need to make some things clear, okay? So, especially in the tax lien and the upcoming tax deed or mortgage foreclosure arena, there's a couple of types of liens that will survive the foreclosure, and you need to know that. If you're going to buy that property pre-tax sale, pre-tax deed sale, or pre-mortgage foreclosure, or a tax lien, you need to understand that there's certain liens that are going to stay against that property, and nobody else is talking about that. So you have to do title work, and it's not hard to do. Those liens, I'm going to give you 3 examples. IRS tax liens and state, that's one example, okay? Those type of liens typically will survive a foreclosure, which means they're on there. If it was against the individual, recorded in the same county as the house was at prior to the sale, it survives the foreclosure, okay? Also, of course, if you're buying it pre-foreclosure, it's still going to be on there. So you need to know that. IRS tax liens typically stay 10 years. And by the way, I've never seen the IRS foreclose on anybody. I've never seen them even re-up an IRS tax lien, although they have the right to do that. Most of the tax liens are 10 years unless the lien itself specifies something else. You can typically read the lien. Most of the time those liens are actually in the Register of Deeds or Land Records Department for you to look at. Okay. So another type of lien, besides state and federal income tax liens, another type is a code enforcement lien. Typically that will also survive any kind of a foreclosure or tax deed sale. The last one I want to cover, even though there are a few others that can survive, the last one I want to cover is if you are in a super lien state. You can certainly Google that. NOLO, I believe, is a great online kind of attorney-based system that'll tell you which states are super lien states. In a super lien state, HOA liens will survive even a tax deed sale, guys. They're still against that property. In super lien states, they actually take priority. They figure that lien kind of runs with the property. And here's the scary part with super lien states. Oftentimes, even if there isn't a judgment or a lien recorded by the HOA, if the HOA is owed money, you're still going to have to shell it out, especially if you bought the property pre-tax sale or pre-mortgage. Check that out. If there's an HOA on that property, the deed will tell you that. It'll say it's under subdivision such and such, and it'll go into the fact that there's an HOA or condo association against that property. 9 times out of 10. Okay, that's a big mistake people make, is they don't check for debt. A second mistake people make is particularly in the overages arena, okay? Tax or mortgage overages, which there's a hell of a lot of money in that too. And we teach you how to do that. We have programs for that, and we partner up with you. But what they'll do is if the owner that has it now had bought this property, okay, and they had purchased the property from a tax deed sale or a mortgage foreclosure, they'll be doing their research and they'll read the deeds or mortgages, deeds of trust or mortgages, right? And they'll do their research and see a cancellation and go, oh, so that mortgage was canceled after the foreclosure, so I don't have to worry about it. Double check that. Read that cancellation to make sure that it actually canceled the deed completely. In some instances, particularly in overages, overages is actually what I'm talking about here, it'll cancel the collateralization, of the mortgage or the deed of trust, whatever you want to call it, or the equity line, whatever. It'll cancel that against the property. But then it'll say, further down, this does not erase the debt. And that's because after a foreclosure, if let's say the first mortgage foreclosed, let's say a tax department foreclosed, if there was additional debt against the property, okay, another lien, whatever, that still is a priority claim to the overage. Well, if you see that it's canceled, you need to still read that deed, the deed of trust, or the cancellation, I should say, of the deed of trust or mortgage, because they may have canceled the instrument, but they kept the deed in place. That's because they have the right to come in after the foreclosure and go, okay, yeah, we lost our collateralization against the property, but we didn't lose our ability to get a default judgment against this individual. In other words, they signed a deed of trust or mortgage, which has been canceled, but they also signed a promissory note, and it didn't cancel the promissory note. So you have to double check that. Always check all the debt, guys. Very, very important. The other thing is, make sure that you check a couple of other items. One, before you go to buy a property, okay, besides checking debt against the individual and the property, before you go to buy it, what you're going to want to check is two main things. One, three main things. Pull up the GIS, Geographical Information Systems page for that particular county, and look at the property to make sure that it wasn't divided. Make sure that now it's not. I had one recently. The guy said, yeah, there's no property on it. It was in a hot area. I was excited about it. Pulled up the GIS. Turned out he had deeded the front of the property years ago to Habitat for Humanity, but it was still showing that his address as having the road frontage, and he only owed a 30 by 50 slice at the back. It was worth nothing. I thought it was worth 60 grand. When I looked at GIS, I realized it was worth nothing. It was landlocked property at the back of the property. It was worth absolutely nothing. Somebody put a shed on it. That's about it. So double check GIS. The second thing I would double check is Google Maps and get a street view and look. If there's nothing but boarded up homes on that street, there's an issue. There's an issue with whoever owns those homes actually being able to sell the property, which means you're going to have an issue selling your property, okay? Or you're going to have an issue with squatters, or you're going to have an issue with people with drug use on that property, breaking in and doing drug use, right? So you need to check both the GIS to make sure you know exactly what lot, sorry if it's dark right now, I'm in the shade. Anyway, exactly what the lot looks like. You also need to check the Google Maps and do a street view if you can. Double check everything. The last thing you want to look for on there, okay, and this is due diligence, guys. This is important stuff. The last thing you want to look also is take a quick look at zoning. I almost got burned really bad in Florida. It was a too good to be true situation. Okay? Too good to be true situation. It was 3 properties on 10 acres, and I looked at the code, the zoning code on there, and it was SH. For those of you that don't know, SH in Florida, in most of those counties, if not all, stands for sinkhole. That's why I was getting 3 properties and 10 acres plus for something like $15,000. In reality, the property wasn't worth jack because all the homes were about to fall into sinkholes. So be careful with that. I'm going to have more coming on this topic because I see a lot of people making similar mistakes as to this. Always double check the debt. Remember, when the tax folks put somebody on there as the last owner, okay, when it's coming up for tax deed sale, taxes aren't always updated prior to the tax deed sale. In fact, as far as ownership, they don't always update the owner and they won't see a quick claim deed or something else, so you don't know if you're dealing with the right owner or not. That's crazy important. Gotta check. Okay? The other thing you gotta check with that is that you are looking at the right property. Okay? That's where you go to the tax department first to get or GIS, and check and see what the legal description is, because somebody might own 3 properties and only the debt against the property with that same legal description counts. Guys, so take your time. You are welcome to ask me questions in the comment section here. Please subscribe to our channel here. We're trying to give free information. Subscriptions help us do that. And please also go to surplusfundsriches.com, surplusfundsriches.com. Put your name and email on the right side in that box, and you'll get updates. You'll get invitations to our free twice-a-month webinars, and you'll get information on how you can partner up with us, become a member, partner up, and a number of different programs, and have us on your side actually buying property out and taking care of it for you, even negotiations in many instances. Anyway, thanks again for listening. I really appreciate it, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Hope this has been helpful.